Welcome to the Intuitive Websites Internet Marketing Podcast, bringing you the country's top podcast on the subject of internet marketing, with your hosts Glenn Thayer and the CEO of Intuitive Websites, Thomas Young. Folks, thanks for joining us for another episode of the Intuitive Websites Internet Marketing Podcast. Today, Tom and I are going to talk about how to handle shipping on e-commerce sites. I mean, Tom, there's how many millions of e-commerce sites are out there right now on the web?
That's right. And when you think about it, they're all going to have to get a product from one place to another. And what generally happens in setting up shipping on websites is that the website owner or manager tends to forget that shipping is one of the most important considerations around pricing on the web. Once you've established good pricing for your products and you have a competitive price, then the website user is definitely going to look at, well, what does it cost to ship this thing? And what's the plus minus here of me just driving to a store and buying it versus having it shipped? So there's lots of strategies to consider around price. Some of the things that are important or to look at are things like delivery time. What is the product condition going to be in during transport? How does the user going to receive the product? Are they going to get it at their home, their office? Can it be delivered without a signature? All those things are important. And I guess what I want to talk about in this podcast is the idea of that just like everything else that you do on the web, shipping is strategic. And the strategy that you have needs to meet your pricing needs, so you can obviously have a margin there, and then also meet the needs of users. And without dealing with all these issues like returns and customer service and international issues, your e-commerce site just is not going to be effective. And it would be a bad thing to have shipping be the barrier to your success online when everything else is good. You got a good website, good products, good pricing, everything else, but then your shipping's not in order and you end up losing sales because of that.
Or what you'll do is you'll get the first sale. So the very, very first sale, somebody will go, I'm going to try you and see how it is. But if they have a bad shipping experience, they're going to tell their friends, they're going to write bad reviews online, and well, then you're not going to get any repeat business.
You finally get an order, get a sale, and then that product comes broken. It's delivered broken, and so really shipping is strategic, and I think that it's important that you lay out a plan for shipping and how it works.
So what do users look for when they're really looking at shipping costs and processes? I know personally when I'm looking online, I look at the different things. If I go to the different websites, I'll go to Amazon, I'll go to QVC, I'll go to Barnes & Noble, Best Buy. I'll go online and check it out, and I'll see what the options are. Right. Amazon's usually great because that's a no-brainer for making things happen. If I spend a certain amount of money, I'm going to get free shipping. And I think a lot of the major online retailers have that.
Here's the thing about users and shipping and what they're thinking. There's a spectrum of users' needs and wants and desires around shipping. And, I think it's safe to say that most users would want it to be free shipping, and that they would want it to deliver right away, as soon as possible. And so there's a segment of users that's what they want, that's what they demand. And there's another segment of users that are more patient and are okay paying for some shipping and understand it. But the one thing I think to understand, bottom line about users, is that they're very smart. They're very sensitive to shipping policies and pricing around shipping. So the solution, once again, in addition to having a strategic plan around shipping on your site, you also need to explain your shipping policies very clearly. If you look at the site Zappos.com, Zappos.com, you'll see on their homepage they have a whole little section devoted to shipping and how it's free both directions. And then if you click on that, they have an entire page with a video devoted to how shipping works, how returns work, and what the benefits are of doing business with Zappos, and how shipping is actually an advantage for the user. So this is a good site to copy. Amazon does some of that as well.
Well, talking with Zappos really quick before we move on from Zappos. Now, there's a culture at Zappos that Tony Hsieh, who the CEO of Zappos, he's got it dialed in. And he brings in the happiness factor. If you go to the Zappos homepage, you'll see right below the graphic, the big photos right in the middle of the page, you'll see right below it says wow. And right underneath wow, it says free shipping, free returns, free 365-day return policy, 24/7 customer service, and happiness. and it's
Right.
all about making somebody happy in their
It is,
total
absolutely.
experience, their online experience, from their online experience to when they pick up the phone and call Zappos. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, all of the other companies that Zappos owns as well, like 6pm.com, which is more of like an outlet shopping type thing, they do the same thing across the board.
They do. And what's interesting about Zappos is they understand their user. They understand how important those things are to the user, and then they turn that into, once again, an advantage for them and into building this incredible amount of customer loyalty. And so that's why, we're talking about the idea that shipping here is strategic. But on your website, have a page that explains your shipping policies and explains in detail why you're doing what you're doing. Like, for example, we have several clients that have to ship either an odd-shaped item that's either large and has to be assembled, or it's an item that's fragile and it's delicate, or there's even perishable items, food or whatever that might be transported. If you have explanations of how you do your shipping, how you price it, and why, then you can turn it into a win-win for you and for your clients and for the website users.
How important is return shipping?
I think, once again, it's part of your strategy of your business. Obviously, for Zappos, their strategy is to wow people with customer service. And, it also comes down to what kind of margins you expect from your business. Because I'll tell you right now, looking at Zappos, they are okay and content with lower margins. They have to be. Because you've got to pay for shipping. And that's what, we hear from our clients. Users don't care or want to think about that. Users just say, give it to me free, right? But no, UPS is not going to deliver for free. No. So shipping has to either be built into the price of the product or as a way to reduce your margins. So it's all part of a strategic process and so forth. But, if you're, I know what Zappos margins is. The average retailer tries to shoot for a 50% gross margin, and then you start to reduce that with shipping and overhead costs and marketing costs. Maybe they're at a 20% margin. I don't know. I mean, that's something you have to answer when you start getting into this whole issue of shipping on the web.
Well, that's also brand loyalty. Then you start looking at loyalty, and that kind of goes back into marketing. That comes more from like a loyalty program, and I think that's where Zappos has been focusing, is utilizing shipping both ways as a loyalty program. It's like, if you buy something from us, you will always be happy with your purchase.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting, though, about Zappos, and there's other sites that do this, if you watch their video that they have on their shipping page, it actually starts to put some limitations on what they will take back. They do it. They're very much into explaining that you can't send us back something that's been worn or used. You need to have the tracking code with the item that's being sent back so you can get credit. It needs to be in the original packaging. You can't just throw it in a grocery bag and send it back. So they do have some considerations around that. But I think that's fair to ask for those things. Because what they're basically saying is, look, we want to work with you to give you the best service possible, but you need to also work with us. That's what should be on the shipping page for your website, no matter what product you're selling.
Now, what about companies that do both? That you can go not only for shipping, they'll ship it to you, and if you spend a certain amount of money, then you'll get it shipped to you, or you can go pick it up in a store, like Best Buy would be
we're just
probably
looking at the Best Buy. The Best Buy website has what they call a delivery estimate. So they're definitely coordinating with what they do in the store. Now, another wrinkle that's been thrown into e-commerce recently in the past few years has been taxes. When e-commerce first came out, it was great because you could get generally low shipping or free shipping and then pay no taxes. And so the smart consumer would realize, why don't I just buy it online? I don't have to pay taxes. This is great. I'll pay $10 for shipping and save $20 on taxes.
Right. Well,
now that's changed because the states are now charging taxes, and you're going to see more and more of that as e-commerce sites have to pay taxes. But what Best Buy is basically doing is saying, look, if you want it delivered, this is a $400 TV set. It's going to be $70 to deliver that. Well, then you got to start thinking, maybe I'll drive down to the store and just pick it up. But they make no qualms about it here. They're going to charge you $70 for a delivery. And let's click on the link that says delivery estimate and see if they give us an explanation of where those charges come from, which is the thing to do, because once again, you have different market segments in your user base. And some users will say, you bet, I'm not going to drive all the way out there. I'll pay $70. Have them deliver it and set it up for me.
Well, but there's here's the other flip side too, is also the in-store Borders. Borders.com.
Right.
yeah, I have to admit I've been taking advantage of their financial situation. When they send out, hey, here's a 30% coupon, 30% off coupon, 40% off coupon, yeah, you bet. I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to spend it. I'm going to use it.
Right.
However, the way I handle it is I go to the Borders website and I find the book that I want. I have a list of books that here's the books I want to read. When I get a coupon, I go onto the website and I see if my local store has it. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not about paying for shipping. I'm like, okay, I'm cheap that way. Mm-hmm. I'd rather go to the store because I like going into the bookstores because there's other books that I might want to check out.
Right.
So it becomes an experience for me. It's less about, hey, just I don't want to go to the store. I don't want to mess with it. I'm happy to go to the store. So what I'll do is go online and say, hey, do you have the book? What happens is they'll reserve the book and shoot you an email when they're holding it for you, and then they'll hold it for you for a day. All you do is go in, go to the front counter, grab your book, and leave.
That's right, and you paid no shipping.
You paid no shipping, and I know they have the book.
And the upside for Borders, as it is for Best Buy, is that you might buy something else while you're in there.
Exactly. It becomes add-on sales.
And so when you look at Best Buy, they have a long page of fairly small font here that explains why they do delivery and how it all works. So if someone is saying, well, why do I have to pay $70 for delivery? They can go read and say, okay, well, I understand that. Sure. Okay. I understand. I'll just drive in and buy from the store. And maybe I'll buy some adapters while I'm in there too. So most clients that we work with and most e-commerce websites don't have the luxury of having 1,500 retail outlets in every city. There's one, so they have to basically sell direct. So when you do that, one of the important considerations is that you develop a financial strategy and a financial plan around shipping, margins, and the kind of supply and demand return you expect from your website. And I'll explain that. What I mean is, let's say you have a product that costs you $50 to produce, and let's say that same product costs you $10 to ship. So then the other question then is, what are your competitors selling that product for? And what kind of margins are you comfortable? And what kind of other service can you provide to help you sell that product? Because what's happening with the internet is that it pushes everybody's margins down.
Well, what about the eBay effect? And I like to call it the eBay effect, is because what happens is if you're selling something on eBay, you've got all the sellers on eBay that say, hey, I'm going to sell this item for $5. So they have some item for $5 and they're going to charge $10 for shipping or $20 for shipping. And what they're doing is they're trying to make up some of that margin that they're dealing with in shipping. Now, how does that relate to an official e-commerce site where they're in business to ship things online, not so much the eBay model, but here, we've got products to ship out. Do people do that? Do they sit there and try to make up shipping, for margin in shipping? Yeah,
the thing about eBay is its own entity, and in some ways it's its own marketplace, its own way of functioning. My kids recently bought some old little Nintendo computer games or little things that they bought, and they were super cheap. I think they were like $10 or something. Then we looked at the shipping, and shipping was like $15. It's like more to ship it than the actual cost of the unit. And the kids just said, oh, I didn't realize that, but, I really want it. I'm going to do it. And it's only $10, So eBay is kind of got its own set of rules, but for most e-commerce sites, that's not going to work. In fact, we recommend that you don't use shipping as a way to improve your margin. And the reason you shouldn't do it is because consumers are onto that. They're not on eBay when they're on your website, and they know the difference. So, like I said, you've got to really budget these things, understand the impact of taxes, and then develop a margin that works for you. The thing that e-commerce websites have done for most businesses is it's reduced the costs and the overheads. So you can live with lower margins. You don't need the storefront. You don't need the huge customer service department. You don't need the retail salespeople. Those costs are now removed from the equation, so you can live with lower margin. And the winners are going to be the ones that have great websites that can be efficient in how they run their business and have great customer service.
So, as always, all of our listeners know that we have action item plans at the end of each of our podcasts. So what should our listeners be looking out for as far as shipping on e-commerce sites?
Well, you need to put a spreadsheet together that lays out the things I just talked about, all the financials, all the pricing issues around taxes, shipping, and final pricing for products. then use that financial information to set your shipping and pricing strategies. And for the most part, go with free shipping and give people options to get it faster and pay for shipping. But for the most part, stick with free shipping, build it into the price of your product. That's going to have the highest conversion rate for you. And then write up your online shipping processes and policies and put them on your website. Talk to your target market about their thoughts about shipping. You have to understand, to kind of put it bluntly, do you have a bunch of people that are really cheap and don't want to spend a lot of money? Or do you have a more sophisticated consumer that's okay paying for high quality shipping and how quickly the product's delivered and what kind of state it is in when it gets to their home or office and that sort of thing. Do some research on your competitors. Map out this shipping process before the website's built. And this is an important one. We didn't talk about this yet, but talk with your shipping partner and get some help from them to figure out these issues, whether it's UPS, FedEx, or however you're using, US Mail even. Because they want you to sell products, because the more products that you sell, the more that they ship and the more money they make. So it can actually be a nice relationship with your shipping partner. And then finally, I think it's just, as we talk about in these podcasts all the time, plan out your strategy, have a good process in place before you build your website, before you introduce shipping, and then use shipping as an advantage to sell more products, and don't use it as a barrier to sell. And I think you'll do really well on your e-commerce site.
And also make sure you check out bestbuy.com, Zappos.com. Check out a lot of the large retailers online and really see what they do and what works. And what
They've done it right, absolutely.
And what makes sense. That's the other part, is really what makes sense. I think a lot of it is just common sense, too.
Absolutely.
Well, folks, thanks again for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next round of podcasts. Thanks so much.
This has been an Intuitive Websites Internet Marketing Podcast. For more information and to see all the available podcasts and much more, visit intuitiveblog.com. If you have a website you would like us to review or an issue you would like to see covered in future podcasts, email us at info@intuitivewebsites.com.